Can you guys hear me? Good morning. Happy Saturday. Not very happy Saturday. We got a lot to talk about today. I'm meteorologist Patrick Harrion, and we are dealing with a very strong winter storm to pass through heading into the afternoon today and even during those morning hours on Sunday. So we're already into that big winter storm warning. That's basically all over all of us. In short, we're basically, the entirety of the country almost is dealing with the effects of this storm. As we'll zoom out here, and you basically see all of us spreading from, well, El Paso all the way towards parts of Maine where they're in that winter storm watch. That's over 2,200 miles. That is quite the storm that is inching closer and closer towards us as we continue throughout the morning hours, even dealing with that ice chances, the ice storm warning out in Mississippi, Louisiana, eastern Texas, and even heading into parts of Georgia and South Carolina. So, still dealing with that all throughout the rest of today, but we do have some dry time, thankfully. Here's where it is right now, and we'll zoom in a little bit closer here. And you do see parts of Little Rock, Fort Smith, Tulsa, Springfield, Kansas City. Hello, Barbara. And we're starting to see it in parts of Tennessee, moving eastbound too. I do think it's going to get to us a little bit later this morning, especially the later afternoon hours, getting closer to more of right around lunchtime at the absolute earliest. And we will start to see more of that as the day goes on, especially looking into, well, let me pull up MaxTrack here for a second just to give you a better look here. So here's what it looks like on the regional aspect. And as we zoom in on our MaxTrack here, looking at our live Doppler radar, we actually see a whole lot of nothing for now. So we have some time to relax a little bit, take it easy. If you need to head out, next couple hours are your time to do so. If you want to get any last minute provisions, if you need get to run over to Lowe's, Home Depot, anywhere you need to go to get your salt, do it from now till about 9 o'clock, maybe 10 o'clock, just to give yourself a little bit of leeway. Actually, I forgot one thing. Let me turn on this light so you can see me a little bit better. There we go. Maybe take a little bit more time this morning if you're able to get out, maybe get those last minute provisions. But MaxTrack right now is looking fairly dry. Not a lot going on right now. All of that snow that's above us, as we saw earlier, is still out towards our west. So this is where we're seeing a lot of that snow cover in parts of Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, down the Boot Heel, even getting closer to northern Arkansas. I've got some friends in Little Rock area that are saying that they're seeing more of that mix already. And as we zoom in closer, of course, MaxTrack right now, fairly quiet. It's going to change, especially in the next 6 hours or so. That's when we see the first bulk of that heavy snow pass through. So let's go to Future Track, see what we're looking at right now. We're mostly going to see a lot of cloud cover continuing throughout the morning hours. It's downright brutal out there. Let me tell you, I walked out this morning to my car. I gave my girlfriend garage privileges because her car is a front wheel drive car. I drive a truck for now. And it's just downright cold. And even up for our friends in the Northwest are seeing temperatures in the negative 30s. So thankfully, we're not dealing with any of that right now. Still seeing chances of staying into the tens, the single digits throughout much of those morning hours. And then we'll start to see the snow chances starting to increase. This is the latest run, even picking up a little bit earlier for our friends in the south, Campbellsville, Somerset, London, Monticello. That is when you do see more of those teens returning and the chances for those snow showers to keep heading out, especially into the early parts of tomorrow. I mean, it's early parts of this morning, and then we'll start seeing the snow starting to arrive later on. So they're still going to see some dry time. That changes, especially in the early afternoon. That is when the bulk of that heavy snow begins, and we'll continue seeing that heading into 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. The roads will quickly deteriorate. It's very cold out there. Salt has trouble working when you see areas of very cold road temperatures. So keep that in mind, especially later on today. We'll start seeing more of those snowflakes start to fall. We're talking more fluffy snow. It's not that heavy stuff that's going to hurt you when you're shoveling. It's mostly the light, fluffy kind of snow globe snow that's going to fall because it's just so dry out there and so cold, and cold air will not hold as much moisture as the warmer air. Now we do see some upper 20s in Harlan, maybe Williamsburg. You might get a little bit of the heavier snow, that wetter snow further south where it's a little bit warmer and there's a little bit more moisture. And now as we go throughout Saturday afternoon and into the evening hours, we do see that pink picking up the further south you go. You're looking more at the Tennessee border. That pink wintry mix that is mostly what the model's trying to figure out. That could be freezing rain, could be sleet, could be snow, could be all three at once. I do think we're going to start to see that mix move northbound as the day goes on, especially into Sunday. That is where things start to quickly deteriorate. So by the time we're looking at the night, Harlan, Williamsburg, Monticello, south of Richmond is where that mix starts to arrive. And that is where you could see that sleet, that freezing rain, that warm nose we talk about, where you see warm air aloft and snowflakes will melt in the rain and then refreeze, or super cool, or it'll hit the ground and immediately freeze. That's where driving conditions can get very bad quick, especially out into the mountains in Harlan and Pikeville. That's where you do see that mix lingering early on into tonight and into tomorrow morning. For us here in Lexington, north of Richmond, Covington area, Frankfort, the capital, Flemingsburg, Moorhead, mostly still snow overnight into Sunday morning. That mix inches closer. I do think a good bulk of us, especially in areas from about Campbellsville and north, this little area here will be mostly sleet. Areas south of that is where you start seeing more of the chance for freezing rain. Those chances will increase, especially Williamsburg. When you're coasting right around 30 degrees, that's where you have the chance for freezing rain, and that is what we'll mostly see in the south in early Sunday morning. So driving conditions will be rough today. I mean, once that snow starts to fall, it's going to stick. It's so cold out, it's going to stick, and driving conditions will get pretty poor quick. So if you have to absolutely head out this afternoon, take it slow. A lot of space between you and the car in front of you. It really does not matter what type of car you drive. Of course, four-wheel drive is always preferable, or all-wheel drive if possible. Or if you have front-wheel drive, put the kitty litter and the salt in the back trunk, give you a little bit of traction, or need it if you get stuck as well. Sunday, on the other hand, once you start talking the sleet and freezing rain, driving is going to get downright almost impossible for some of us, especially further south you go. Once you start getting in the upper 20s, Monticello, Williamsburg, the freezing rain will linger around heading into Sunday morning. Now, we do see chances for rain showers. That's still going to be that freezing rain chance. The sleet moves further north, Mount Sterling, Moorhead, Richmond. You start seeing more sleet late Sunday morning. And when you're talking snow totals, the sleet and the freezing rain are the big question marks on whether or not that's what you'll see, how much you'll see. So we're still thinking over 8 inches here in Lexington, 8 to 12 further north. We'll bring up the total map here in just a second. But sleet can play a big factor in how much will actually sit around. We had a big storm pass through Missouri. Y'all had it here in Kentucky, where sleet last year, early January, did play a factor in the total amount of snow when that storm did pass through. So as we get into Sunday afternoon, there's where that sleet line is, and I'll draw it once again. Once you're getting north of Springfield, maybe right around Lexington, Mount Sterling, Moorhead area, all into that pink, that's mostly where you're going to see that sleet line mixing in. And of course, further south you go, Richmond, Jackson, Pikeville, where you have that rain and super cool droplets that'll freeze on impact. That's what you're seeing into the southeast. So keep that in mind. Sunday morning into the afternoon, we do still see that sleet lingering into the late evening hours, 5 o'clock and so on. And then we slowly start to move out heading into Sunday night. Now, for those of you out in Covington, closer you get to Cincinnati, Ohio, mostly snow. All, in fact, snow. Further south you go, Lexington, you get that sleet chance. Further south, heading to Somerset, London areas, that's where those chances for the sleet and freezing rain look to be. And then by the time we're heading into Monday, yeah, we're still seeing some snow showers. Most of these are going to be fairly light in comparison to what we saw throughout the day today and tomorrow and even into parts of Monday morning. So we're looking at historical perspectives, this could very much be close enough to those record book days. It's one of those storms that potentially we could be talking about from years to now when you see that top 10 chances and even heading into, well, early into the day one snowfalls, even getting close to maybe right around that 1910, maybe for some of us. If we get right around that 10-inch part, we're in the top 5 potentially. So still could be a very big generational day when it comes to just how much snow we could potentially even see. So we've shown this map last couple of days. Bill and the team and I put it together, mostly Bill. A lot of us had some say in it as well. But we did see 8 to 12 plus inches of snow. You still have that sleet chance early into the evening hours of tonight into tomorrow morning. Sleet most likely Sunday morning. Areas north, when you get closer to Alexandria, Falmouth, that is what we're still seeing a chance for heavy snow. And even further south, you still see that sleet ice chance getting close to Richmond, ice storm potential further south you go, and so forth. But of course, numbers in the grand scheme of things, impacts is what we're going to see more, and that's where you do see those chances that daily life is going to be greatly impacted throughout tomorrow, throughout Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It might take road crews a little bit to get things completely clear, because when you start dealing with what's on the back end, which is those very cold temperatures, that is when we do start to see temperatures really go down. We're talking negatives heading into Monday morning, overnight lows. That's in the negatives. That's when we're mostly seeing a lot of this stuff really stick and it'll linger. You talk about concrete. That's that layer of packed down snow that's not getting warm anytime soon, could linger heading into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe even at the end of the week. We're really not going to warm up anytime soon, as we'll see on our 8-day, of course. 18 degrees today, 26 tomorrow. Those overnight lows, especially heading into Monday morning, -4, -5 into Tuesday, and then still looking at the 20s into Wednesday and Thursday, maybe another snow shower or two by those dates. In the negatives, of course, lingering into Friday morning. So all the snow that we could potentially get today, lingering into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Really don't see a day where we're going to warm up anytime soon, especially heading into next week. So one last time, I'll look through the what we're seeing with MaxTrack for today, or more of what we're seeing on radar right now, where it's very quiet, and that is still looking to be lingering heading into those early morning hours of today. Still seeing a chance for snow to continue into the afternoon and lingering through overnight into Sunday. And we still see those chances for, of course, the sleet, freezing rain in the south, upper 20s, Harlan area, Williamsburg, greatest chances for seeing that freezing rain. And then we'll still see that sleet starting to push northward as we'll head into Sunday morning. One last look at totals here. Still seeing about 8 to 12 potentially. Sleet play a huge factor. That could knock down our totals completely, maybe in half, maybe a little bit less than that. But still something to keep in mind as we're looking into grand totals by the time this is all said and done. But of course, take your time on the roads. If you absolutely necessary have to go out today, do it early. By the time we reach early afternoon, that's when we do see a lot of that snow starting to return or starting to stick around, and driving conditions will greatly diminish as the day goes on, especially into tomorrow morning. So stay home if possible, hunker down, put on some movies, play some games with the kids, sleep, read, and maybe watch the football games tomorrow if you want. But it's still, stay inside if possible. Don't flood the roadways. Let the road crews do their jobs. And of course, be safe throughout the rest of the weekend, and especially with those bitterly cold temperatures that'll linger into the start of the work week. Stay safe through that time as well. And of course, we'll give you the full update on forecast throughout the morning. Today, 8:30, today is our next morning show. You'll catch me and Ellen here this morning talking about it once again. And of course, Bill and Emily will come back later on this evening and into tomorrow morning and throughout the rest of the weekend as well. So make sure you download the WLEX 18 weather app, Storm Tracker weather app. Keep us with the most up-to-date forecast. Follow us here on Facebook, Twitter, whole 9 yards. You know what to do. Stay safe, stay home if possible and take this storm seriously and do all the precautions you can to